I wanted to talk a bit about Starfield, and if mods can save it. I had a conversation with a friend of mine about why Bethesda is the way Bethesda is, and if Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be an absolute disaster. And we're both really worried about it. What's baffling about Starfield is that it is literally the perfect game developer game. You know, it had near infinite resources, like you're working alongside Microsoft, like Moneybags Microsoft. You have access to some of the best talent in the industry. Obsidian works in your office. Like, you go down a floor, Obsidian is right there. You can talk to the writers at any time for consultation. It's baffling. And of course, time. They got to delay the game multiple times. They've been working on it for a decade. Like, even pre-production, even in the planning phase, there's it feels like they failed. And they failed not because they didn't have enough time, not because they couldn't get enough resources and they were too ambitious. No, they weren't too ambitious. They just didn't have the skill. That's how it feels. I'm not saying if that's necessarily the case, but it certainly feels that way. And knowing this, God, that really ticks me off. That really pisses me off, you know? It's like, how on earth could you possibly have the money, time, and the manpower, all three aspects, and then fail? How's that possible? I don't know. And I'm thinking all the time, okay, instead of trying to do an analysis or breakdown of Starfield and why it ended up this way, I think what's more interesting is it going to happen again in Elder Scrolls? As of right now, Creation Kit 2 went into private testing 2 months ago, according to the public repos, GitHub repos. We don't know how it's going. It's been 2 months, 3 months, maybe, and still no word. Bethesda has said nothing, in terms of an apology. They haven't, No Man's Sky, when it came out and it flopped, the team came out, had their apology, and then they put their fucking heads down. They went silent. They went ghost. They went dark. Then they came out the other side with a fantastic game. There's no apology from Starfield. There's no apology from Bethesda. There's no statement on, okay, we're refocusing, we're remaking our pipeline. I think the only people Bethesda has to answer to is Microsoft, but Microsoft haven't said anything either. It's been largely silent in pretty much every single way. Starfield isn't a terrible game. I want to make that clear. It's not a fucking terrible game. It has the fundamentals, right? The issue is that Starfield doesn't fulfill the promises that it sets out to fulfill. I need to find a way to explain this. Okay, check this out. So, every game developer has to understand, and every gamer needs to understand, that what we do here when we're making video games for you is that we are doing a trade. We are making a contract between us, right? This contract says that I give you a game that is worth your time, a game that is worth your money, a game that is worth your talent, your effort. I give you an experience that you will love to have. And then you give me money, your time playing the game, and commitment, loyalty to my company and any future products we might make. This is the exchange, this is the contract we're making between player and developer, right? Every single time. It always works like this. The issue with Starfield is that they give you the contract and they say, okay, here's our list of terms, and they give it to you. And then you give them your time, your money, and your faith, right? Your trust. But they flub this. They fuck this up. They're missing this piece here. They're missing this piece here. This piece is missing. It's a broken contract. They broke the contract. And so you're exchanging these things, and it doesn't feel like it's worth it. I want to talk about that part, right? And everything that can be done to fix that. What are the promises of Starfield, and where can we go from here? As modders in particular, I guess, because, I don't think Bethesda is going to be able to fix their entire game with Shattered Space. It seems like something that was cut out of production midway through, and then they said, okay, we're just going to do this elsewhere. We're going to finish this up elsewhere. So, the promise of Starfield, I'm taking this directly from their website, and a few things are implicit to the gameplay that you'll notice, right? I think I'm trying to be pretty normal here, but we're going to see. So, the promise. So, they promise a universe-scale adventure, player agency. Something they say twice is explore, recruit, quest. This is said twice on their website when you go to the Starfield website. This is super important, right? They have emphasis on it. Everything else seems to be minor. The fact that they did this twice shows how important it is to them. This is the core gameplay loop, so it kind of makes sense. Next, spaceflight, versatile combat, and lastly, the question, what's out there? This is in the trailer. Naturally, as people who've played the game already, and the fact that the entire internet basically said, by the way, you need to finish the main story as fast as possible. Otherwise, you're going to be wasting your time because New Game Plus is so much better than New Game. So just rush the story. We all know that what's out there is the Starborn, and the Relics, and the Unity. So these are the promises. Humanity's greatest mystery, promise, scale adventure, spaceflight, agency, versatile combat. By the way, I didn't mention this. When they say versatile combat, they specifically say, in quote, chaotic spectacle, end quote, and, quote, boost packs give players freedom to maneuver, end quote. I think we all know how to feel about that. Now I want to talk about what promises they fail to fulfill at all. They definitely fail this. They fail this. And everything else is like, they did it, but they did it in possibly the worst way possible. Don't get us wrong, the universe is large. Right? This is it's true, it's large. It's not interesting, it's not good. And there are other games that have large universes that do it better. Spaceflight, it's there, it's functional. You can even fight people in space. That's a technical achievement for the creation engine. But thanks to this engine and the way that it loads worlds and the way that it... Sorry that my mouse is jittery. I took the pen away from the pad. The way that they load their chunks, I assume, is the reason... Like, they call them cells in the creation engine, right? The way they load their cells makes it so that spaceflight is basically impossible when you compare it to something like No Man's Sky, where it is really free roam space. I don't know if you can go from one star universe to another without using a warp drive in No Man's Sky. I don't think you can. So even though it's not like truly space, we're talking like true space, we're talking Elite Dangerous, where it is seamless, there is no fast travel, you are meant to fly each and every space kilometer. I don't know units of measurements in space, but like, you can fly in Starfield. It is not the fantasy. It does not fulfill the promise. What's out there? This is actually a promise that they do fulfill. It wasn't satisfactory, but you can't say that they didn't fulfill it. They did fulfill this promise. They told you what's out there. It wasn't fun, and it was revealed in the worst way possible, basically by online. But they did say, they told you. So they succeeded that. Explore, recruit, quests. I left this for last. This is the most important part of Starfield. It is the game loop. It is everything. And it is the reason why Starfield is a 7.5 out of 10 instead of a 9 out of 10, like Skyrim was. And I can't tell if this was done exactly as they said they were going to do it, and so you shouldn't be mad, or if it was done, but it was mediocre. I'm kind of leaning towards the latter. It was done, but it was mediocre. And we're going to break down each of these pieces separately later. So before we go any further, I want to talk about like some miscellaneous notes I have here. And it's I didn't realize at the time, but it was whatever. You'll figure it out. So under promise and over deliver. This is the illusion that you give players that, hey, we're going to give you something, and it's going to be pretty mid. And then the players get it, and they're like, what the fuck? This isn't mid. This is massive. This is huge. This is great. I love this, right? I don't want anybody to be fooled here by people saying, oh yeah, I want to play smaller games that are made by smaller teams for less money, and I'm so happy to be playing smaller games because, you know, I'm a dad and I don't have time to play games. What about your son? Your son's like 15. He has all the time in the world to play games. Let him play his 80-hour adventure. Let's not get it twisted. And even if you are a dad, size is more important than how you use it. All right, there's a reason why Assassin's Creed still makes all this money. You obviously still love size. Small games, they're always going to leave you wanting for a bigger game. And while you have a massive game that can be painful and a waste of time, when you get a game that's big and you enjoy every second of it, you're always going to go back to it. That's why Grand Theft Auto is so good. It's a big game. It's enjoyable to play, and players 10 years later are still going back to it. It's a good fucking game. A prime example of under promise and over deliver was Baldur's Gate 3. Now listen, I've been playing Larian games for a while, okay? I was definitely on that Divinity 2 Original Sin 2 train, all right? I love CRPGs. It's one of my favorite genres. I love RPGs in general. RPGs are my jam, right? So when Baldur's Gate 3 was coming, I knew it was going to be a hit. I knew it was going to be a bop, but I had no clue how insane it was going to be. Not in terms of narrative design, but in terms of scale. Larian has made some big games. Look at Divinity once again. But Baldur's Gate 3 was insane because They learned pretty much everything from Divinity Original Sin 2 and fixed the one mistake that held it back from being a 10 out of 10. In Divinity Original Sin 2, it ended with a rather short Act 3, right? Act 1, Forjoy, was big. Act 2, I already forgot the fucking name of the town. Whatever. It was massive. It's the biggest thing we've ever seen in a CRPG, basically. And it was packed to the brim with content and all these little side areas. There was so much to chew into, so much to dig into. It was super good. But then Act 3 at Arcs was it was large, but not really in terms of content. It was large in terms of scale, but there wasn't really much to do. There was a lot of walking. It was kind of boring. I'm kind of ignoring the act in between Act 2 and 3. I don't think anybody talks about that. It's just that short little sin around the island. It was barely an act. But Act 3 was very much a narrative wrap-up. This is where all the consequences of your adventure come, and they all coalesce here, right? And Larian learned this. They learned that Act 3 was short, and so they made Act 3 in Baldur's Gate 3 fucking massive. So instead of the curve, like there's a curve for this, right? So in Divinity Original Sin, we had Act 1 started here at Fort Joy. Act 2 started here, and then Act 3 came kind of back down to Fort Joy. And it's not small, but it feels like we peaked in Act 2. But then in Divinity, that shit went from Act 1, 2, 3. Like, that's crazy. That's nuts, right? But that's how it felt. And it's like, they underpromised. At no point did they ever say how big this game was going to be. They kind of implied it. And we were kind of like going off Divinity 2 numbers. But if we're going by Divinity 2 numbers, Baldur's Gate 3 goes on for this long. And Divinity really does end here. It's easily triple the game. Easily. It's not even funny. And fully voice acted. I can't get over that. Even DOS 2 wasn't it wasn't fully voice acted. It was there were some things that didn't have any voice. I don't know. That's crazy. Larian's crazy. That's a crazy ass studio. I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they keep it lean. I don't know how they afford this. Was 10-cent money really enough? I don't know. Anyway, that's besides the point. But they underpromised, they overdelivered, and it was huge, right? One more note I want to give you is that when it comes to game design, what some developers still fail to realize, but we've learned like 10 years ago, 20 years ago, is that players appreciate rewards over punishments. Right? Incentives are always stronger. They always love incentives. They hate to be punished for bullshit. This is going to come up like over and over again, I think. And you can see it in pretty much any game you play, that the incentive design is basically what will keep you coming back for more. If you want, okay, let's look at like Monster Hunter, for example. Just off the top of my head right now. So Monster Hunter, they have an incentive design behind their durability, right? Sharpness. It goes from like white, I don't remember all the fucking colors, but the point is that up here, you do like 25% more damage. But down here, you do minus 50. So instead of like not having this part at all and not having 25% bonus, if you just had this, where like the lower your durability is, the less damage you did, it would feel terrible. This would feel like dog shit. You would hate this. But because this incentive is over here, we're going to incentivize that with green. This incentive is over here, you constantly want to keep your weapon sharp. At white sharpness, do I have the color white on this palette? I do. At white sharpness, your weapon degrades slower, so you get to stay here for longer. And it's about this balancing act of maintaining yourself at white sharpness. It's also faster to sharpen, I think. I guess it depends on the game. But the point is that there's so much incentive for being over here in the white that even though there is a punishment, there is something over here that says it's bad, you don't necessarily feel it. This is incentive-based design. Now, an example of non-incentive-based design would be Legends of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Everyone heard of this, okay? Link's sword breaks after like 72 hits. Just a basic sword, okay? Sticks break after like 18 or something. This is nothing but punishment. This is nothing but punishment. There's no reward here. There's no reward at all for having this weapon have this durability. There's no incentive for this stick to have 18 durability. You can forgive it, but this is not good. There's no reason to have this. There's no reason why players would want to wear down the durability more. Like, for example, they tried to do this, like, and I think a lot of people miss this in design when we're talking about the game. But I want to move down here. So when a weapon gets down to low, like it's flashing red, you can throw it, and it'll do more damage. I don't know how much. I haven't done the math. But it is more damage when it's in the red, when it's about to break. So the idea is that you're constantly like flipping out of weapons, and then you throw the weapon that's about to break at like 17 hits later. So we have one hit. You throw it, and boom. Huge explosion, a lot of damage. It's great. It's fantastic. But this is not a strong enough incentive. Players already don't like throwing weapons. The throwing arc is relatively short. Instead of like going a long ways, like a bomb, the weapon kind of goes like that. And it kind of spins around while it's doing it, so the hitbox is in. Like, there's a lot of reasons why players do not like to throw their weapon. And outside of a boomerang, which even then, a boomerang you have to catch. You have to catch the boomerang. I remember finding this fucking trifecta boomerang. And it would like, I don't know. Like, boomerangs are frustrating to use. And they don't do enough damage to justify the risk of losing it because you didn't catch it in time. So there's a lot of problems with this. From a game design perspective, like, just on the basis, like, you don't need to be halfway through development to realize these things. These are things you can realize without being halfway in development. These are things you realize doing the bare bones day one of development, when you're still conceptualizing the game and making a plan. They flop this execution. In Tears of the Kingdom, they try to remedy this, because they realize it was a fucking mistake, by allowing the fuse mechanic. So you have a sword. That's a terrible sword. What happened? You have a rock. You can fuse the two and make a sword with a rock on it. It looks terrible, but that's essentially what it is, and it has boosted durability, right? They still don't show you how much durability, and it still doesn't fix the issue that the weapons break. So these are all disposable weapons. So you might have a rare material here, a super rare material, and fusing it on a super rare sword, and it might make a super rare combination, but you get to use it for like, I don't know, 5 forts, and it's done. It's broken. There's still no way you can't repair this. You can't fix this. It's still a disposable weapon. No matter how rare this material is, no matter how rare this weapon is, it's still disposable. And so it breaks. It breaks in that way. So why the fuck am I talking about... Oh yeah, because incentives are more important than punishments. Always go for the incentives. Alright, if you take anything away from this, and you want to make your own game in the future, always do the fucking incentives. Always consider, why the fuck would my player want to do this? Always have a robust way for a player to express their way of fulfilling your incentives, right? You don't have to necessarily have a robust way for them to do the stupid shit and like fuck up, right? Like, for example, players that want to kill every NPC inside a village, you don't necessarily need to have an entire fucking quest line about how you ruined the world. You don't have to fucking you can just do the Morrowind thing. Morrowind said, okay, you killed a key NPC, and then they give you a fucking pop-up saying, hey, by the way, you're done. Load a save, asshole. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Alright, so now that we've established that, let's go back to Starfield, okay? So, I want to tackle this thing about... Hold on, let's go back here. Which one do I want to tackle first? Let's do player agency first, because I think this is the most interesting to RPG players like myself. Player agency. So, player agency. The ability for the player to feel like they are in control of their own narrative, right? When a player does X, and they expect it to do Y, we as the developers need to have a system in place of cogs and gears and wheels and pulleys that makes Y the viable solution and the correct solution. Expectation is important here, right? They have to think that X will equal Y. They have to think that. If they think that X equals Z, well then we did all this making Y, and they wanted Z, and they're like, where's Z? So player agency is it's super complicated, and this is a skill that I don't take lightly at all. I have a lot of respect for developers who are able to pull this off, because player agency is one of those things. It's like you kind of have to know a little bit of psychology, like who your players are, what they would do, where these situations. I think that Bethesda severely misread what their players did and what their players wanted, right? When they're out here telling speeches like players are going to throw paper airplanes when you give them all this fucking dialogue, they don't really care about it. They misread their players. They don't know who their players are. I think that's because they've been trying to casualize their process, right? Obsidian and Skyrim, the dumbing down of Elder Scrolls is to get more fans and more people into Elder Scrolls. This is important. Diablo 2 did that. Diablo 2 was notoriously like a hardcore game, right? But then when we got to Diablo 3, it became toony, it became approachable, all the stats went away. Like, Diablo 3 sold so much more because it was casualized. And this was the intent by the developers, and I kind of respect this. It sucks for the Diablo 2 fans who wanted a better game, who wanted a more complicated game, and they ended up going to, like, Path of Exile and, like, Grim Dawn, I guess. And now Last Epoch. It sucks for them. But if we're in terms of bringing more people into the genre in general, and, like, widening your audience, Diablo 3 did this magnificently, alright? I know this because I came in on Diablo 3, and I went back to play 2, and I didn't really find it approachable, but then I played Path of Exile, and then I went back to Diablo 2 after that, and I was like, okay, yeah, this makes perfect sense. Path of Exile is the extreme end of the spectrum, okay? This is the end game for complication. Anyway, that's besides the point. So, I think Bethesda misreads their audience. And this is because their community management is kind of lacking, right? They don't really listen to their players at all. And this is very obvious over every controversy, every scandal they've had over these all these years. Like, they obviously don't fucking listen to your players enough. And if they do, their management is so locked in that they can't really pivot. And this is probably why, I didn't save that graph. This is probably why Larian is so fucking good. Not only do they listen to their players and communicate with their players, it's important. Players need to feel like they're heard. You don't necessarily actually have to listen to your players. When you're listening, the only thing you need to do for players is, like, give them a shitty little, all right, here's your gift bags, bro. Here, this is what you guys wanted. Here you go. Just give the players what they want, and they will shut up. We as developers know that what the player wants, this is not what they want. And when developers say this, it's like players are stupid, players are incompetent. No, that's not what we mean. What we mean is, like, what players are talking about is the symptom of a disease. We know what the real disease is. There's a fucking disease down here, right? He's a bad guy. There's a fucking disease wandering around doing bad shit, and we know what the disease is. But players only see the surface level of the disease, right? And so the players say, why are you not fixing the fucking disease? They think this is the disease. They think this is it. But we know it's not. So instead of telling players, no, you're stupid, and then just, like, ignoring them and going around doing, like, the real fix, we have to be able to tell players either, hey, what you guys are looking at is not the real thing, and so players can be like, it's not? Where is it? And then you show them the real disease. Or we give players exactly what the fuck they asked for. We fix the symptom. We patch it over, right? It's like having mold in the walls and then getting some dry, I don't know, building terms for stucco. Where you get some fucking paint and you paint over the mold. Like, the mold is still there. The disease is still there. It's still here. Hi. Right? It's still here. But players can't see it anymore, so it's no longer a problem, and the ratings go up, and your securities go up, and the monies go up, and the stock goes up, and everything is good because the players are satisfied. YouTubers aren't fucking shit-talking. Players aren't in the forums bitching and moaning. Like, everything is good, where the player can't see the problem. And in the meantime, you are fixing the real issue, and the players have no clue. This is the ideal scenario. Bethesda does not do this. Bethesda, and here's what's even worse about Bethesda, is that as a fellow industry man, okay? I mean this with the most love. I'm not convinced these guys know what the disease is. I don't know if they know what the fuck is going on down here. I think that they also might be looking at the symptom and saying it's disease. There's no way. There's no way. I refuse to believe there's any developer that's incompetent like that. Like, you have to have, you don't come into this fucking industry knowing nothing, right? If you were a player before, you are no longer going to be a player by the time you get in, okay? There's no way this is the case, but I can't help but feel that way, because it feels like, with no communication, players, and me as well, kind of feel like Bethesda don't know what the fuck is going on down here. And this is an issue because, no, let me explain this a bit better. The reason why players feel like this is because, players are players. But I feel like this because Bethesda has failed before, right? They failed before. And then they also failed before again. And they also failed before again. It feels like since Skyrim became, like, the best game of all time, in every single discussion, they got too big for their britches, and they started thinking they knew better. They don't necessarily know better. And it shows in their track record. Since Skyrim. Somehow. This shouldn't be possible, but somehow it's been getting progressively worse. In the case of ESO, it's definitely worse at 76. But now we're here. The perfect game, with the perfect budget, the perfect team, the perfect resources, the perfect amount of time, failed. Not failed as in like financially. I don't know how much it made, but it failed in terms of being beloved. The clout that Bethesda chases after so ravenously, they failed. Anyway, this is supposed to be about player agency. God, this is going to be a long video. Okay? So, I talked about why player agency is important. I talked about the perception being more important than the reality. They see something, they think it's that. So you need to fix that. The promise of player agency circles around this idea of pros and cons. Pros and cons? Jesus. Pros and cons. Right? Another way you might describe this is the concept of consequence. Now, you don't necessarily always have to have consequence. This doesn't always have to be here. But it's part of the promise. Player agency is a promise to Starfield. They broke this promise. Consequences are part of player agency. In order for a player to feel like they have control, they need to understand what the opposite of that control is. What does it look like when they give up all control? If the answer is absolute fucking disaster, that's consequence. That's good. You like that. Even like, and it's like, this is also kind of complicated, right? Because once again, like, they expect Y, and you have to do a lot of work to create Y. But if they expect Z, you're fucked, because you just spent all this time making Y. So if they expect the consequence to be... Actually, I think I'll take that back. It's possible to have consequences that are unexpected and it's still good. Baldur's Gate 3 does this all the time. The times they don't do this, where they don't communicate to you, hey, we're in trouble, is like the attack on Druid's Grove, I think, and this was kind of a miss, in my opinion. They don't really signpost to you, hey, you have a limited amount of time after this point in the story where you need to get your shit together and make a choice. Otherwise, everybody's dead. There's a consequence. It wasn't expressed, so it was a bad consequence. The pros also need to be expressed properly. These are all like concepts of narrative design that Starfield kind of misses. And I don't want to spend too much time talking about fucking solutions, because I'm already like 30 minutes into this raw recording, and I know this is going to be a long-ass video, probably my longest video. And we're not even like a third of the way through. What I'm trying to say here is that it's important that this is fulfilled. There needs to be a pro and a con to every action. And this should be built into every single fucking quest. The strongest quest designs from the best RPGs fiddle with this concept. I'm not saying that every quest needs a failsafe, but they need a con, right? They need a narrative con. If you do not do this for this person, this will happen. There doesn't even have to be a fucking timer. I'm not saying there has to be gameplay consequences for not fulfilling the quest. But for your player to feel agency, to feel like they matter in the world, everything they do needs to be a choice. When they choose to go to point A, they might be leaving out choice B, and they might not be able to get back to it ever again. Well, ever again, as in like this playthrough. But new playthrough, yeah, it comes back, it's fine. Like I said, I'm not going to fiddle too much with the solutions, because like quest design is very complicated, and modders are going to have one hell of a day if they even decide like it's worth the trouble. I think that Starfield is a fantastic canvas. I think that it can be fixed. I think that it requires a lot of fucking work, and I'm not convinced that what's going to come out the other side is going to be great. But if the quality is good enough, if the entire game is remade, basically, like an actual overhaul from this concept, I think it would do a lot of good. I want to talk about spaceflight. Spaceflight. Okay. So, in order to fulfill the promise of spaceflight, and this is weird because they kind of did this, right? They kind of fulfilled it. But why is it that they kind of fulfill it? Well, because there's no reason. Why am I flying? They give you the ability to fucking fast travel. That's crazy. Like, even No Man's Sky lets you fast travel only to, like, your base locations and starships and shit. You can't fast travel to every planet, to any fucking settlement. There needs to be a reason to fly in space. In No Man's Sky, you had to fly because there are certain materials you can only get from asteroids. You have to asteroid mine. There is no asteroid mining in Starfield. So why am I flying? Well, I have to fight ships, right? Like, this is a reason, I guess. But why do I need to do this? If I choose to never engage with spaceflight, what's the consequence? What's the punishment? Nothing. You can use the default ship all the way into the end of the game. And unless you're doing the faction missions, because like there's a few Freestar Collective quests that I remember very freshly of being like abnormally difficult, abnormally frustrating. Like, even on like the easiest difficulty, they were abnormally frustrating. That's a mechanic design flaw with space flight and space fighting in general. I'll talk about that later. But what I'm trying to get at here is that there's no reason to do this. There's no reason to dogfight. There's no reason to be out in space when you can just fast travel everywhere. The reason, like, whenever you get to a new location, I find myself pressing M to open up the map and quickly fly to the next location before ambushers like come out of the woodwork and try to take me for my foes. Because like it always takes like 3 seconds or so before ambushers come into your zone and start attacking you. And events, for that matter. You'll still get the fucking side quest whether you want it or not, though. Agency. When I find myself avoiding it, that's when I have to question, okay, why would I do this mechanic? What is it that I get from spaceflight? Well, you can hijack ships, right? Wasn't sure how to draw that, so we're going to do this and have a little stick in between them. Yeah, you dock, and you take their ship. And then you can sell it for money. But how much money? Not a lot. It's actually not worth it at all. The amount of time you spend going through and hijacking the ship, bringing it back, selling it, that same amount of time you could have been gathering materials by going to a dungeon. And yeah, I don't know. Like this isn't worth it. This is just another thing of like maybe this is a balance issue, but this is also a failed reason. Selling ships that you hijack, and to like sell a ship, first you need specific perks, right? You need like rank 3 of a perk in order to target the systems to stop a ship from fucking moving. Otherwise you get very lucky. And then in order to fucking pilot the ship, sometimes you need a rank 4 perk. So this is 7 levels of investment to hijack a fucking ship. Maybe 5 if I'm being generous, because you can get targeting at level 1 of this skill that I'm talking about. So even being generous, this requires 5 levels. 5 levels you could have invested in 233 skills. 5 levels. And the leveling curve on this game is fucking terrible. I'll get to that later, but this shit goes like... Choo! Like, what were they thinking? I don't know. It's the perfect game. They want you to play forever. They don't want you to stop playing. So the idea that you could like potentially unlock all of these in one playthrough, terrifying to them. They couldn't imagine it. They hate the idea. Whatever. Point is, there's no reason for spaceflight, so this is unfulfilled. This is another broken promise. Another like incentive that could have been here, like for this one I'll give a fucking solution because this one's pretty simple. We could have had like a Star Trek type thing, right? Like you have a bed in your ship, you have crew, you have stations. What if piloting your ship worked like Raft? Where you're managing all these systems, all these things, and it becomes a tangible experience. It becomes something that you are constantly doing. This is a mod that would be able to fix spaceflight, right? A mod in which your crew can man turrets, so they can do box. Boop, boop. And your crew can do this, okay? Your crew can get on the turrets and help you in gunfights. It would be a mod in which you can have, I don't fucking know, like more stations, I guess, without modifying the ship. Modifications are expensive. You have to go to shipyards and all this. Oh, that's a lot. But you want to be more involved. You want enemy ship parts that you can salvage. Instead of trading an entire ship, you want to trade in their ship parts. It shouldn't be a repair material. It should be something you can sell, right? You have fucking like engines and fucking frames and panels and all this. This is all money. This is all money on the table. And so it's kind of like this small little game loop inside the game loop. This is micro game loop where you get these pieces, and if you actually like don't trade them in, maybe you could do a fucking jalopy-like thing or like a My Summer Car thing where you were able to build a brand new ship using these parts that you collected from fucking nowhere. In this way, the fucking economy wouldn't be so fucked. It wouldn't be so broken. You can just make a ship. And maybe your ship has like a durability on it. And if you're in the high durability, your ship functions better than normal. Like, once again, the Must Turner thing. Sharpness. Like, there's so many different ways to take this. And they took none of them. And it wasn't because they had enough time. This is the perfect game. They had enough time. They fucking delayed it. They had time. They chose not to. It was not in the design spec. What's the next promise? I guess there's like micro promises that kind of come with spaceflight, like, for example, planets. Why would you land? All these randomly generated planets, and why would I go to them? Like, okay, I need some aluminum for crafting. Obviously for crafting. Okay, why do I need to craft? I need a mod. Okay, once I have the mod, now what? Let's say I stockpiled aluminum. I got like I really sat there and I grinded 633 pieces of aluminum. Okay, a game loop means that it has to come back in on itself. So where is the loop? There is none. Why? Okay, why else do you go to plants? What else is there? Resources, survey, right? Survey data. So I need some papers saying what's on the planet. This takes like hours to do. This takes way too fucking long. This is a problem. Hours to do this survey. Okay. And it sells for not even that much fucking money. In the time you've been doing the survey, you could have done a dungeon. Like, it's an opportunity cost issue all across the board here. But anyway, surveys. So, I need to do a survey. Why? There's a side quest associated with it. And you can colonize the planets. If you have a fucking survey, you can get people to live on there. Okay, why do I want people to live on my planet? Why do I have a base on the planet? Well, so you can set up supply lines, and you can get materials. Oh, and why do I need materials? Fuck. Why is it like... What were they thinking? Why is it like this? If the game loop was more strict, this could be the game loop, right? You need settlements. You need this. This is important. Because you need materials. And sinking resources into 633 aluminum is worth it. Because you are going to need every single fucking piece. Because you have to craft, you have to build, you have to maintain, you have to network. There's so many things that could come from this. This is the solution to the problem, to the broken promise. There's so many reasons why you would need all of these things. But there's... once you get to a certain point, this game loop breaks. It breaks off in the middle. And it no longer loops. Instead, it starts deviating down a single path, and it becomes useless. This is just another... It's another broken promise, another failure. Do we already talk about space and how empty it is? Like there's No Man's Sky does this better. I think we talked about that. I think you get the fucking point. But No Man's Sky, I'd like to expand on it a little bit more. No Man's Sky. Space is filled to the brim with asteroids that you can mine. So this is materials. Mats. It's filled with trade ships that you can hijack or protect. Ships. It's filled with pirates. Starfield has this. This is the only thing it has, really. So we're going to give that a check mark. It has, like, it kind of had trade ships, but they're not... They're always in, like, United Colony space, and, like, is the hijacking really worth it? And you're doing all this fucking damage, and you're ruining your reputation, your companions want to get mad. They obviously don't incentivize going after the trade ships. No Man's Sky, you can, and there's an expensive bounty system that's associated with it. This is where, like, a built-out con was a good thing. And this is kind of why I didn't spend this much time on it. Like, this is complicated. This is a complicated process. Like I said, I have a lot of respect for people who have to do this. A lot of respect. Player agency is difficult. No Man's Sky also has, like, anomalies, like, special shit. Like, random shit that can happen out in space. And, like, Starfield has this, kind of. I came across this guy. The coolest anomaly I ever found in Starfield was this guy who was singing a song. And it was a fucking beautiful song. He was just floating through space singing. I thought that was so fucking cool. But in No Man's Sky, the anomalies are like massive alien eye objects. Hi. Hello. And it is this shitty little fucking triangle floating. It just warps out of fucking nowhere. Hi, hello. How are you? It's just this fucking thing. And like there's a mystery to that. There's a fucking question of what's out there. Well, this thing is out there and it kind of signifies that there's something out there. But it doesn't give you the answer. Like what is out there? What's at the center of the universe? Does this thing have to do with it? Shit like this is interesting, right? This is a reason to fly. This is what populates space. What is the reason? I shouldn't have to keep asking the question. What's the reason? These are basic game design things. This is why I'm worried for fucking Elder Scrolls. Like, this is simple. This is stuff you do before development. Okay, I gotta calm down. Also, I still can't get over this. I'm surprised more people don't bring this up. Where are the fucking aliens? Drink, where's the door hole? Where are the aliens in my fucking space game? Where are they? Are you kidding me? It's just a bunch of fucking animals. Where are the fucking aliens? Once again, this is elementary shit. This is elementary. This is basic stuff. I'm definitely raking them over the fucking coals for this. This is absurd. Where are the fucking aliens in your space game? Alright? I can't find an excuse for this. This is incompetence. And anyone who tries to fucking defend this, alright, you're defending in bad faith. You're defending because you're part of a fucking cult. This is stupid. Where are the fucking aliens in the space game? What type of space game do you have with no aliens? No intelligent life. The Starborn were going to be the intelligent life. It was the promise, the mystery. What's out there? Fucking X-Files sound comes on. Woo! Fucking aliens. Fucking Varun. House Varun, right? Giant fucking snake. Look, it's giant space snake. House Varun. Woo! It's the aliens. What's out there? What's out there? I'm so curious. The Starborn are human. Varun are human. There is no space snake. And my day is ruined. Let's talk about combat. Another failure. This is 53 minutes. Jesus fucking Christ. Let's talk about combat. Let me check how much space I have in my fucking storage device. This is a lot. This is a lot of talking. Alright, I still got space. Running out, though. Running out very fast. Versatile combat. This is, there's a lot of problems with this, right? Gun variety is very limited. It's not good at all. And the guns don't feel any different. They don't really do different types of damage. And they don't look too interesting. So it feels like the gun variety is lacking. They have gun variety, but it's not as good as it could be. This was a severe miss. This is a serious miss here. And then the combat in general is just like, okay, once again, coming back to what they said. Chaotic spectacle and boost packs give players freedom to maneuver. You are not maneuvering in combat. What are they talking about? No. What you are doing is you are running, and you are breaking their ray scans. These lines that look at you because they update like every 0.2 seconds instead of like 0.1, and they're like shooting past you intentionally. It doesn't feel skillful. Now you look at Doom Eternal, or Doom in general, and the bullets are projectiles. Because they're projectiles, there's a type of skill that comes with ducking and weaving. And it feels chaotic. This is what chaotic would look like. It would also give us a solution to the second part, which was boost packs give players freedom to maneuver. Your boost pack, yeah, this thing goes up. It doesn't go sideways. You can't dash with it. You can't dodge with it. It doesn't send you backwards. It sends you up. That's the only direction it goes. You can go up and a little bit forward. And the difference between the boost packs is up times 3, up fast, but short. I spelled short wrong. Or up, but slow and long. This is boring. Fast, chaotic, boring, static. The projectiles, they cannot be hit scan. We have to take out the hit scan. And I think they're already projectiles. So this, I think, rather than changing how fast the enemy aims at you, the projectiles need to come down on their speed. They need to be like way slower. I don't know the fucking calculations because I haven't looked into it too much because we have fucking Creation Kit 2 out yet. But the projectiles need to be slower. If it was projectile-based combat, there would be a reason to use this fucking jetpack. There would be a reason to jump. There would be a reason to move. There would be a reason to sprint and slide and all these things. By the way, slide. Useless. It's short. It has no fucking momentum. And there's no movement options out of it. It lacks movement options. By this I mean like Mario, when he fucking starts to slide, he puts his fucking hands on his head and he's drifting, right? He can turn this into a long jump, and it's super cool. It's super exciting. It's super unique. Why do I slide? Slide was put in because they thought it was cool, because they thought it'd be dynamic. It's not dynamic. It's not dynamic at all. Just making it longer would not fix it. This would not fix it. Just giving it the ability to hold your momentum might fix it a little bit, but what would be even better is giving you a reason to slide. What if sliding into an enemy tackled them, it toppled them, right? What if tackling, like you could slide tackle and it would like topple them over? Like this, once again, simple stuff. This is not versatile combat. Well, I'm going to repeat it again to you. I'm going to repeat the promise that was broken. Chaotic Spectacle. Boost packs give players freedom to maneuver. This is not good. This is a failure. Absolutely a fucking failure. There's no way around it. Universal Scale Adventure. Do I even want to touch this right now? I think this is relatively straightforward. It's fine. There's just nothing to do. But this is probably the easiest thing to fix, right? Just give us more prefabs. To explain what that is for the non-developers. A prefab is a prefabricated design. Like you know how like you've seen repeated dungeons? Yeah. Just more dungeons. Just give us more. More dungeons. More encounters. Make space more dense. Make everything more dense. It just needs to be more. Not more planets. Because there's too many fucking planets. That's why we're struggling to fill it. But we have all these planets and they're filled with nothing. Starfield has the potential. And this is where like I think it has potential. Is that Starfield has a lot of space. And you can put whatever the fuck you want in there. Like there's so many things that are left on the cutting room floor that it is very easy to synthesize something. Before we get to the main thing, I want to talk about what's out there. Right. The Unity and Starborn. Not bad ideas. Not bad ideas at all. Good ideas. Good concepts. I love these concepts. Right? Execution was poor, but the concept was good. I saw the vision. I fuck with the vision. All right, this is good. The Starborn, a race in quotation marks of people or things that are going around hunting indiscriminately. We're not really sure why they're killing, but these mystery men have come and now they're targeting you after you started finding these artifacts, these relics. With all the relics, you can open the Unity, which shows the Starborn's greatest secret, the thing they were trying to hide all along. The ability to traverse space and time. Well, just time, I guess. The greatest mystery all along was the Unity. And you use the Unity to play the game over. This is like, and okay, you play the game over, what changes? Very little. Your agency, like, whenever you're going to do a New Game Plus, there has to be enhancements. Persona thrives on enhancements in New Game Plus. Shit, Trails of Cold Steel too. My handwriting is getting more sloppy as I go along because I'm running out of space on my computer. The idea is that on your second playthrough, you have all these boosted skills and knowledge checks and stat checks and dialogue checks that you previously couldn't make. Now you can make them. And you can go down optional routes and do optional things that you previously were unable to do. You could see them, like requires, like you have 47 intelligence out of 70. And you're like, how the fuck am I supposed to get 70 intelligence in one playthrough? This is how. New Game Plus. Now, of course, Persona can be routed, right? In one playthrough, if you're perfect, you can do everything. Same with Trails of Cold Steel. In one playthrough, you can do everything. Starfield did not want you to do this. They did not want you to do things in one playthrough. And this is where everyone got the sentiment of rush the story, get to your second playthrough as soon as possible. Because they thought that after you got to the second playthrough and everything changed, everything would be goated. You'd be super goated. You'd be super happy. This is not the case. There's no checks like this in Starfield. There's nothing that you couldn't do the first time that now that you're in New Game Plus, you can do now. There's nothing like that. Instead, what they try to lean into is you becoming a Starborn. You turning into them and hunting the relics for power. Now, when you ask the question of power narratively, it's always power to what end, right? A villain wants power. What does he want power for? What is he trying to achieve? So, what is the end goal? What is the end point of power in Starfield? Nothing. It's pointless. There is no end goal. There is no reason to have power. What's out there? Nothing. There's no aliens, there's no snakes, there's no Unity, there's nothing. There's nothing out there. This is probably the most devastating promise, because it was fulfilled, but it's like a poison fulfilled. I'm not going to spend too much time on that. I don't think modders can fix this. I don't think anybody but Bethesda can fix this. And it's too late. They can't fix this. This is like the core story, and they failed. They can't fix this. This is not fixable. I did not think this is fixable. So we're going to move on past that. Into the final thing. Explore Recruit Quest. Oh, God. So I have like a list of like 30 issues and their possible solutions. And all of these really fit into this category, which is the main game loop. Explore Recruit Quest. So we're going to keep looking. Okay. So, explore. My hand's getting tired. Recruit Quest. And then some miscellaneous shit. I'll do that like as I'm going along. Like I'm going to intersperse some miscellaneous shit. So like one miscellaneous thing is consumables, right? This is an easy fix. Modders can do this. Consumables are weak, generic. Like 1 HP every second for 5 seconds. Is this interesting? Now, how many food items do you think in Starfield act like this? Most of them. This is not good. Obsidian could have given them some pointers, like once again, same building. Obsidian could have told them, hey, we made a mistake in Outer Worlds by giving the players all this fucking food with all these different effects and letting them stack. But you absolutely should not do this. Like, I prefer Outer Worlds. They did it so much better here. You just like fucking snack on shit. You really like need your stim packs there. It was good. This is bad. Let's go to recruit. So companions. I don't think I have anything unique to say here, but I want to say it anyway. Companions are limited. There's only 4 that are worth having in your party. They're bland. Or, even worse than bland, unlikable. I hate Barrett. I hate everything about Barrett. I hate how he sounds. I hate how he speaks. I hate Barrett. I hate this guy. With all my heart, I hate him, right? I hate most of the people in the fucking lodge. The only person I don't hate is Andrea, my fucking wife. But everyone else can kick... they can kick rocks, okay? I hate everybody in Constellation. They made the worst first impression. I thought Sarah was going to be some type of badass. When I first came in, she was like, Vasco, check this guy. Vasco, is this motherfucker lying? I thought she was going to be like that, but no. She turned pretty milquetoast very fast. I thought she was going to be like some hardened person. Like, it was going to be cool. No, she was, there was no edge. And there's no edge to any of them. They don't have an edge. People have been making fun of Edge since Shadow the Hedgehog. Edge is good. I love Edge, okay? We have to stop being scared of Edge. Edge makes characters go round. Edge makes the world go round. Learn to love Edge, okay? Edges are great. That edge, they're all great. I just went to the fucking vertices. Those are not edges. Edge. It's great. I love edges, okay? And it feels like they have no real history. I want to talk about Fallout New Vegas. Everyone's beating up on Bethesda over this. But there's this guy named Boone, okay? Boone is an insane character. his wife got kidnapped by slavers, and she was pregnant or something. I can't remember his full story. But Boone, after you get his trust, you get to help him fuck these guys up in revenge for his wife. And this storyline is so, like, it's so unique. It's so heartfelt. And it's so, it feels so real, right? But then in Starfield, we have Andrea, for example. Once again, my fucking wife. Alright? This is what she looks like in my head. Andrea's like, yeah, by the way, if you couldn't tell, this is very spoiler heavy. By the way, I am a serpent lover. It's my religion. It's not a cult. Don't call it a cult. It's my religion. It's my fucking faith. Believe in it. And all you have to do is say, oh yeah, that's good. I like that. She's like, really? Oh my god, you get me. By the way, I also had like a bad deal some years ago. I left some guys on a rock. I abandoned them. I betrayed them. And I wanna patch that. I want to patch that up. And she couldn't patch that up. And it turned out to be some bigger plot by her fucking House of Ruin cult. And it's like, I don't know, dude. Like, it didn't really feel impactful. It's not like Boone, we're going around avenging his fucking wife. There's no edge, right? All right, you betrayed them, but I'm under no impression that you're going to betray me. Boone, if I get on this guy's bad side, I think he could betray me. All the companions are like this, and there's only 4 of them. This can be fixed. There are more companions in the game. There's recruitable queue. No, I said that so wrong. Recruitable crew. And I thought these guys were going to play like a huge role. Because like you can roll up in a bar and you'll find some named NPC and she's like, hey, I like piloting and I have a huge jet, can you pay it off? And it's like fucking 2,500 credits or something. You don't have it in the beginning of the game, but you'll have that soon enough. And you're like, yeah, sure, I'll pay off your debt. It's like Kenshi. With Kenshi though, crew that you recruit like this, it's okay because they are swappable. They're hot swappable. Mostly. Oh my god, no, Kenshi does it better. Holy shit, because there's crew where they have unique dialogue in Kenshi. Oh my god, Kenshi does it better. Kenshi's a little fucking janky Eurojank indie game, and Kenshi does it better. Oh my god. This is just not like, it's just not hitting me. How fucked. Anyway, so you can fix this by making these guys worth it. There's a fucking mod for Skyrim called Interesting NPCs. They create brand new NPCs. There's no need for that. Here in Starfield, we have the NPCs. They have voice acting. You can use AI to like get better voices out of them, get more lines out of them. Like, oh no, don't use AI. AI is bad. Like, sorry. All right, it's expensive. But for free, you can get these guys. You can just expand on this. This is perfect. All right? Recruitable crew. These could be more companions. They should have more things to say. They should have better stories. And eventually, we should probably get around to, like, reworking stuff like this. Like, adding flow. This is just an issue with narrative design in general. Like, the story lacks pros and cons. Like, what happens if I didn't help her? Well, her quest ends and I don't get to fuck. I don't get my fucking wife. And of course I want my wife, so of course I'm going to do my damnedest to please her. But the consequences are, she just fucks off, she just leaves. There's no, like, consequence in between me and her. It's just all or nothing. All or nothing. This is unforgivable for the 4 companions. Once again, it makes you question, like, where did the time go? These are the promises. Where did the time go? 7 years. Once again, you don't have to be in production to do some of this stuff. Some of this stuff is just conceptual. It's just game design stuff. Where did the time go? I don't know. Another thing. Level design. So I already talked about the prefabs. That's easily fixed. Just add more. But I would like to talk about, like, the tiles that they have. They are very small. And this is kind of an issue because we have perks like leadership that implies that you can have more than one companion at a time. This is not a problem in any other Bethesda game. This is the first time I've ever seen a problem like this. You can have one companion. You can have one person in your party at a time. This is weird. And because level design is like small, it makes me think that it was intentional. But the companions are nowhere near deep enough to only have 4. So we have small hallways. They're cramped. And I often find myself shooting my wife by accident because they're this small. There's certain places like story beats where like for example the Starship Enterprises, where you had you were tracking down this guy who had a fucking ship piece, and he left a fucking note saying, "Fuck you looters, I'm repairing my ship here." That was a pretty wide open space. It was very dynamic. It was very open. It had multiple pathways. That was good. I like that. I like that one. But most of the time, especially for like the prefab dungeons, the randomized dungeons, they're not randomized. That's probably the worst part. If it was randomized, this entire issue would be fixed. Like it should have been random. And we have ways to do this, like wave function collapse is my favorite. I love this. Okay, if you've never experimented with it, the way it works is so let's say you have a grass tile, and then you have a sand tile, right? And then you have a grassy sand tile. When you start to generate, what's going to happen is that you make the rule that grass can only go next to the grass, sand can only go next to the sand. And so whenever the wave function collapse algorithm decides it's going to create a map, it's going to have something that looks like this. And like these are going to be grassy sand. It's going to be the grassy sand tiles. It's going to know it. It's going to be able to generate that. You can do that with rooms. You can do it in 3D space as well. I'm not going to get into all the fucking details because I don't think any of you are capable of doing this. I think people who are capable of doing it would already be on the case. But there's ways to generate randomized dungeons. You can handcraft it. That's fine. I think it would take a lot of time. It would definitely be more special. But when we're looking at Skyrim dungeons, they feel randomly generated despite being handcrafted in quotation marks. So I don't know how much it matters. It would probably be better if we handcraft them. But you can randomize them with wave function collapse. Forgot the collapse part. Anyway. This is a long video. I'm going to hate editing this. My hand hurts. Also, you can't fucking respec. Why can't you respec your companions? Like, I get it, she's sneaky. Right? My wife is sneaky, right? But, that's all? Like, once again, I have 4 companions. I have to get mileage out of these guys. And I have no mileage because I... like, I can't even optimize. Like, optimizing isn't fun. Like, I have no fucking agency. I have no fucking agency. I can't optimize my crew. I have no control over that. Because I can't fucking respec. That's weird. I can't tune them either. Like, I should be able to, like, persuade her into liking energy weapons more, right? I should be able to say... Like, Divinity allows you to do this. Like, once again, there are things in this game that every other game does differently, but I'm not going to rant about that. I'm trying to finish this shit up, alright? Factions. Oh, fuck. Camel Works made a fantastic video about fixing Starfield and all the problems with it, and one of the things he brought up was factions. There were like 4 factions to interact with. But Morrowind had like 20-something, with a team that was a fraction of the size. It doesn't make any logical sense that we have 4 factions with less quests made by a team of over 200, putting it at its lowest number. It doesn't make any sense at all. No, games are not more complicated. That's not the reason. The reason is effort. And you know what's fucking criminal? Hold on. We're going to open the browser again. We're going to go to the fucking wiki. Okay, take a look at this. I'm going to zoom in. So, these are the 3 factions that you have, like, quests in, right? Inside these factions are sub-factions. Aegis, Mast, UC Marines, all these. Then, we have shipbuilders. We have entire fucking religions. We have criminal organizations. We have exploration people. We have, like, other fucking, like, factions like Galbank and shit. There's side quests for him, but there's nothing, like, major. Ryujin should be up here. House Bruin should be here. We have fucking weapon manufacturers, starship module manufacturers, not starship, like, builders. The manufacturers who make the parts for the fucking starships. We have merchants, which is different than Galbank, apparently. Galbank's just a bank. But we have merchants. We have companies. We have robot. We have the fucking space for this. I said this before. Starfield has the canvas. It has the scale. It has the fucking universe here. It has this. This exists. But it doesn't fucking use it. There are so many fucking factions in Starfield, it's boggling. In truth, this is not 4. It is easily 50-something. 50-ish. And only 4 get used. At all. Including Constellation. This is absurd. There's so much space. There's so much potential here. This is why I think you can fix it. All right. This right here is why I think you can fix Starfield. There is factions. It exists. All right. All this exists. The framework is here. It just needs to be fucking implemented. They didn't fucking do it. They didn't do anything. that kills me inside because it's a universe scale adventure. They couldn't fulfill the promise. Like, and on top of that, another issue is that like the factions don't they don't intertwine. Morrowind doesn't do this either. But factions like imagine Skyrim, right? The Thieves Guild does not cross over with the companions. Right? In the Thieves Guild, you don't have to become a companion member in order to do a mission where you steal from the companions and then take it back to the Thieves Guild. And there's not like consequences like you get caught and they out you as a spy and now you're locked off from the companions forever. There's no consequences. What would I fucking say? Consequences? There's none. There's no intertwining. There's no situation in where you are a companion and you've been tasked with killing a member of the Thieves Guild and you can't find their fucking hideout. So you have to do some like investigating and like some other work with mercenaries. And they let you on to somebody that they know who was a former member. And that former member still has a fucking key. And now you have this like super the super weird quest where you're a companion, you're combat like this is a combat faction. But now you're a companion trying to sneak into the fucking Thieves Guild and it's super high stakes. Right? And maybe if you do this and you fail, they no longer allow you to fence ever in your playthrough. And maybe you can pay off the Thieves Guild and allow you to fence again, but you can no longer fence. You can't fence objects. You can't steal and get away with it as easily anymore because you're always going to have something stolen in your back pocket. Like that's pros and cons. Pros and cons. What the fuck? They don't intertwine. Once again, you don't need to be deep in development to know this stuff. This is like surface level. This is game planning. This is just this stuff you're going to have in your document. And they didn't do this at all. As Ryujin, I wasn't stealing from United Colonies. I was stealing from like contractors at the United Colonies. If they let me steal from the United Colonies and like left me off in the quest line, that would be so much more impactful. But this is complex. I said I wasn't going to offer too many solutions on this. I mean it. This was a solution, kind of. But we're not going to talk too much more about that. Anyway, factions are limited. Is there anything else? Alignment. I spelled alignment wrong. Okay, alignment. Fallout New Vegas kind of did this. I don't think it did it well. I think it did it okay. Some factions love you, and some hate you, and want you dead. That's my skull and crossbones, okay? And you have to, like, have the right ones on your side. And sometimes they have, like, interests, right? Like, UC and all their, like, branches, they absolutely hate Ryujin and their branches and subsidiaries. So if you fuck with this one, maybe this one gets locked off. And if you fuck with too many UCs, now all of UC gets locked off. I don't know if, like, that would fit. Like, now UC hates you, and they will shoot you on sight. It would be interesting. And you can... I think this is something that's probably easily moddable. You'd have to create a brain... This is something that would require a framework. You would have to have a framework that is able to track how many actions you do against each faction. I think factions already have a tag somewhere that says... Alright, this is Ken. What do we call this? Is this inheritance-based design or is this composite? I think it's composite. Anyway, this is Ken. So Ken is male. He's a UC member. He's human. There's no fucking aliens. None of this matters. He wields submachine guns. These are attributes that are assigned to Ken. UC is a tag somewhere in the code that says they have these values. Honest, hostile, and this is going to be a binary, right? Hostile to you. This is 0 or 1, yes or no. 0 is false, so he's not hostile to you because UC and aware. But these are all just attributes that are tagged to the UC thing. What will happen is if you fuck with UC too many fucking times, the global UC tag goes to 1. It becomes 1, and now anyone with this tag is now hostile to you. This is a system. Now Ken is mad. Okay? And Ken's got a shooty shooty bang bang. So what happens when we have a UC member that shouldn't be hostile to you no matter what? Well, let's say we have Jane. And Jane is also UC. But you should be able to override, like in every other fucking engine you can do this, but you should be able to override this, the 1 into a 0 for this NPC. It's Jane's specific code. Now, I don't know how the fuck the creation engine is running, okay? I don't know how the creation engine 2 works. But, like, as long as they're not doing hierarchy-based shit, as long as it's composite like this is doable. Even if creation engine is an absolute shit show, if we can make the framework to do this and have a tag-based system, this is perfectly fucking doable, I promise you that, okay? Just override Jane to 0. And even if the UC is 1, it doesn't fucking matter because Jane takes priority. Does that make sense? I think it makes sense. I shouldn't have to spend too much more time on that, okay? Okay. The XP curve. I kind of talked about this before, but it goes like... There's no XP curve in existence that should ever look like this. Ever. XP curve should always be granular. Especially for games as long as Starfield, it should just be this. In fact, you should probably be getting more XP. I'm sorry, that looks weird. No, that's right. Yeah, you should be getting more XP, right? And then eventually you'll plateau. But like start off slow and end quick. And I think it's more satisfying that way. I'm not fully convinced. I can be persuaded off this position. I'm not into balancing. I'm not that guy. Don't ask me about balancing. I don't have an answer. I don't know. Melee is terrible. This kind of goes back to our talk about the hit scan bullshit, where there's no like projectiles. Where? Okay, here we go. This is difficult. There's no projectile. If there was projectiles, melee would make more sense because you could duck and weave just like Doom. But because everything is hit scan, or it's fast enough to feel like hit scan, and your jetpack doesn't really do what jetpacks are supposed to be doing in this game, melee is not viable. Unless you like face tank. Right? You face tank all the hits. And you can make this a build. Well, no, you can't, because the skills don't really facilitate face tanking. The skills don't work with you. The skills is kind of another problem. Skills are useless or very niche. This is bad. This is bad. This is very bad. I don't really need to say too much about this. Skills need an overhaul. I've seen a few mods that kind of tackle this, but I don't think they go the right direction. They kind of do. I'm not going to say it. They kind of go the right direction, but we can do better. Half the skills are useless or very niche. It's okay to have niche skills if the rest of the skills make up for the fact that it's niche. Like, being niche means it needs to be strong. In Baldur's Gate 3, one of the first controversies that came up is a perk that basically give you free damage no matter the circumstance, right? Oh, it's in Divinity Original Sin 2 as well. This one was the attribute called Warfare. Doesn't matter if you're melee, range, or magic. Warfare boosts damage. It boosts damage. Just flat. Just up. Boop. Have some warfare, boost your damage. Right? This is not a niche. This is an essential. If you have a niche, it needs to be strong. The niche needs to boost. Actually, no. That's a terrible idea. Don't listen to me about fucking balancing, okay? I don't know. But I know that this is bad. This needs an overhaul. This needs a fix. Melee is bad because the skills don't interface with it, and because this game is not designed around projectiles, so melee is always going to feel bad. You can't have melee in a fucking hit scan game. That doesn't make any sense. Like, we've played Call of Duty. Let's wake up, okay? Unique weapons. I kind of talk about this with weapon variety. Uniques are not unique. That one's very simple. They need unique models. They need to do unique things. Like, look at any other game with uniques. Look at some fucking Blizzard games. Look at Diablo legendaries. Look at Path of Exile legendaries. Look what these things do. Those are uniques. Those are unique weapons. They do one thing, and they fill a niche. Uniques should fill a niche. They shouldn't just be strong across the board. They should fill a niche, and therefore be strong. Okay? That's what makes a unique unique. Alright, let's talk about skills. Yeah, there's a lack of side quests. like quality side quests. This is a narrative issue. You live in this. You're in the same building. You have the resources of Microsoft. You work alongside some of the best narrative designers in the entire fucking industry, Obsidian, and you don't talk to them. You don't consult them at all. The side quests are lacking. Players can do more. We can do better. But this is fixable. Yeah, this is fixable. This is fixable. It's a lot of work though. Anything narrative, anything having to do that with something that's not systems, like this is doable, right? This is easily doable. Modders can do this. But side quests in more factions, in writing factions, narrative design, this is hard. It takes a lot of time. I say this all the time. Game development is not difficult. It's just time consuming. It takes a lot of fucking time to get your game out the door and to have it be competent. Okay? This is one of those situations where this is going to take a lot of fucking time. I'm not confident that this will be done before Elder Scrolls 6. Like, I don't think, like, I don't know. There's a mod for New Vegas where you're a bounty hunter or something, right? Everyone's played this. This was super fun. The Bounty Hunter series? This was super fun. This was super interesting. I loved this. If we can get quests of that caliber, yeah. Yeah, this will be dope. Side quests could definitely thrive. But like when it comes to narrative, like raw narrative, I'm worried. I'm worried that it's not going to be doable. Like it's not worth doing. It's doable, it's just not worth doing. Also, like the interesting missions the interesting side quests that do exist are tied to factions, like the 4 factions, the big guys. And some people have found like I was doing Region, right? I was doing Region Industries. There's a mission where you have to sneak into a compound. I didn't know this at the time, but apparently you can just walk in and just shoot everybody, shoot, bang, bang, get to the end, steal the data, and walk out. No sneaking involved. And the only thing that's going to happen is you get a slap on the fucking wrist and they tell you, stop doing that. But you did your job, so I guess I can't punish you too much. It all comes back to this. It all comes back to this. They failed. They failed that. They broke that promise. And it hurts everything. Let's talk about Radiant Quests. Radiant Quests are not a bad idea. Especially for a game with this many levels, 233 skills. For a game like this is not bad. But they are very boring. And they are done through a fucking mission board. With like 4 options. It's very static. Like, why? And the rewards aren't worth it. The rewards are lame. There's a better way to do this stuff. I just don't have the fucking brain power to work it all out right now. I can probably do it later. But I am 1 hour and 30 minutes into this recording, and I'm getting tired, but I want to finish this up, because I'm not a bitch. Rand, can you fix this? What's like the easy way to fix this? The easy way is to do what a Skyrim mod does, where you do a repeatable quest, and you get a perk point. But instead of perk points in Starfield, maybe do repeatable quests and you get a special currency. This can be reputation, which lowers the barter prices in shops, right? This coming back to the faction thing of like alignment, right? Maybe get lower barter prices for doing their quests. Maybe this reputation can unlock items, certain weapons, certain uniques. These are like the easy ways, right? Your perk points that you get from doing these quests, it shouldn't just be money. You shouldn't just get money for doing Radiant quests. There should be a way to grind your way through the game doing this, okay? Surveying planets, I already talked about how much time that fucking takes. There's no determinate controls either for, like, planets. Like, okay, we have this planet here. What's on it? What are all the resources? Okay, we have aluminum, we have lead, we have, I don't fucking know. Hydrogen. We have these things on this planet. But in order to get all 3, we have to find the exact place on the map where these things are happening, where you can find these things, okay? And maybe that place is like here. So you have to land there, but you have to like click on every inch of this fucking planet to find that. Like, this is bad. I should have an easier way to find all 3 of these resources at once. I should have a way to scan a planet for tiles in which I can land and find my way to these resources all at the same place, where I can put down a fucking settlement, which is incentive to have a fucking settlement system. There's no systems built out for this. That's very weird. Fauna. So like the animals that are running around, the only aliens that exist. Fauna is very limited in terms of like what they do. Their drops are generic. It's just generic animal meat, generic animal bones, generic poison gland. Ideally, let's not get to that yet. They also do a lot of damage compared to like bullets and shit. Like you'll die to an animal faster than you'll die to a human. That's weird. They're also like tanky for some reason. If we have a food system, hunting for meat should be easier. Like they have their animations are kind of fucked too. So like their hitboxes are fucked. It's difficult to fight them fairly. So you better just like stand on a rock and just shoot until they're dead. I don't know. The fauna, I don't like the fauna at all. There's not enough places. I already talked about this. There's not enough prefabs. There's not enough places for you to go during your quests. They all send you back to like the same 10 prefabs, and it's lame. It's kind of lame. I already talked about that. So, oh yeah, there's also like no like places. You know, like there's no miscellaneous settlements that you can just find when you're exploring. There's no like weird outposts with like weird quirky things they do. The settled systems, by the way, settled systems. It kind of implies something, right? It implies that there's not just wilderness. And when you look at the history for the settled systems, it kind of implies that there's a lot of people here. I haven't seen anybody. It's not just because like my computer can't fucking handle it, but like I don't know. It seems like an issue. Shipbuilding. I'm not different than everybody else. Okay, I'm not a fucking pick-me. Shipbuilding's fine. It's great. I love it. But ship fighting, not fine. Targeting is way too tight. You can be over here flying, and they could be flying after you on your ass, shooting you the entire time, and you can't break away. They're able to follow you with a type of accuracy that you do not have. They do a lot of damage, a lot of damage. Your hull gets shredded, while their hulls are fine. And this isn't just an issue with the starship. This is an issue with all Class C, B. A is okay. C and B are fucked. Lower class ships are fucked. But you need to destroy like 25 ships in order to unlock Class B. It's difficult. It's time consuming. It's a barrier to entry. Yeah, you also have to like build it, right? You have to build the fucking ship. And it costs money that you probably don't have at the moment because you just started the fucking game. Like, there's a really bad gameplay loop here where you're getting your ass kicked and you have no recourse, really. Like, even on the easiest difficulty, their targeting is way too fucking tight. They're also, like, super fast. For some reason. I don't know why they're so fucking fast. When they boost, they get to go across the entire fucking galaxy. When I boost, I go nowhere. And once again, it might just be an issue of this being the baseline of where people get their first ship. And you're not really incentivized to upgrade, so it feels like this. It feels bad for a long time, but this is fucked. Also, like, their turning radius is super tight. Like, this is mine. I have to go all the way around. They can turn like this. And there's multiple of them. Pretty much every time. There's multiple. You combine all these things, you have bad ship fighting. It doesn't feel fair. However, if we're working with the with the system that I was talking about earlier, where your crew could like man turrets, they would be able to fight off these guys while you were flying. Right now we have auto turrets, but you have to install those on your ship, and it costs money. And you have to go to the right shipyard. The shipyard idea is cool. I like that certain shipyards have certain parts from certain manufacturers. Exclusivity is cool. I like that. And it's an adventure to find the right shipyard. Not find, to get to the right shipyard. Finding it, however, should be easy. You shouldn't have to break out the fucking wiki to find the shipyard with the auto turrets. You shouldn't have to do that. It's not cool. You don't even know what all the fucking shipyards are. There should be an easier way to figure these things out. And I shouldn't have to read a fucking data log. It should be intertwined into the world that this shipyard is obviously going to have the auto turrets because they're all about automation and futurism and all this. And it should be in their design. World design. There's a quest where you go back in time to a ship that was built before humanity really got off in spaceflight and became the Cell Systems. And the fucking design of the ship looks exactly the same as your ship. I can't tell. Like, it's all the same. It's all NASA punk. This made-up aesthetic that they made. It's all like this.
All of it. Even the fucking weird, out-of-place western town is still NASA punk in some way. It's all NASA punk. NASA punk does not have enough room in its vocabulary to branch out into more interesting world design. There's just not. And that hurts it. We need better tiles. For our prefabs, we need better pieces of the puzzle. We need better puzzle pieces to make better prefabs. This is absurd. The world design is absolutely terrible. I didn't even write that as a fucking note. That just came to me. Because you can't tell what shipyard you should be going to. So it's word on the street is Bethesda cut out survival mechanics, right? Hunger, thirst, sleep, disease. Bring these back. Fuel. I'm not even joking. I'm not trolling. Bring these back. Oh, but for the casuals. All right, bring back a difficulty, survival difficulty. Bring it in. Please. I think this is something they will fix. Modders don't even have to fix this. They will fix this. I've heard murmurs that they're going to. But, bring this back. This fixes a lot of issues just by having this in the game. Not all of them, of course. Like, okay, you need to eat, right? Eating is great. I love eating. Then where the fuck is I don't know. I'm not gonna be able to find it. Whatever. It helps with this, with the raft concept, where you're able to understand and incentivize yourself to do these things, to do these small little routines that help you out, right? Fuel, it gives you a reason to fly in space. Disease gives you a reason to hoard medicine. Sleep gives you a reason to have a fucking bed and like to go back to your ship and not just fast travel everywhere because you'll get sleepy by, I don't know, fucking teleporting yourself. I don't know. Thirst, like, yes, put these in, but once again, just like the fucking durability system, Monster Hunter, back to the very beginning of this fucking TED Talk, incentives are stronger than punishments. Do not punish people for not eating enough. Give them reasons to eat more. A game called Valheim gives you bonus HP when you eat. And if you have a comfortable room, there's a comfort system. So this is controversial. I haven't heard too many people shit-talking this, but I understand that comfort systems are not they're not ideal because you can min-max a comfort system. But Valheim does this great. I love Valheim. Alright? Fantastic. Fantastic way to incentivize eating. Resting, not so much, but there's other games, I can't remember them off the top of my head, but there's games where you rest in a good quality bed. You get, well, Bethesda already does this. You get boosted XP, right? You get boosted XP, but you should also get bonus HP. Not like stronger HP pool, but like temp HP. Like Binding of Isaac, temp HP, right? Just overshield. And it shouldn't be on a fucking timer. It should be until it depletes. There's less min-maxing that way. You're incentivized to take less hits. You're incentivized to do better in combat. But it's kind of difficult because we're hit scan, and this goes back to the fucking... God, I'm not going to do that again, okay? Listen, there's this fixes a lot. This can fix a lot. We just have to do it right. I don't think they're going to do it right, so it's going to be on modders to do it right. But after they bring this in, which I assume is going to be Shadow Space, I expect great things. I expect amazing things, okay? I haven't done blue in a while, so we're going to do some blue. The Flora, as in the plants, it's okay. It's good. The UI, everyone knows this, it's terrible. It's horrible UI, it's Metro design. It's clunky, it's built for controller, not for keyboard and mouse. It's fat. It's fat UI. It's just fat UX in general. Like, it's very bloated. The aesthetic matters more than the functionality, and it hurts in the menus. Menus are the one place where your functionality should trump the aesthetic, right? Luckily, there's already mods that are doing okay. They're doing better. It's not ideal, but it's okay. It's better. That's what matters. What would be ideal is a grid-based system for your fucking inventory. Because scrolling through a fucking list of 3 million different 8 items is painful. Give me the grid system. Allow me to see the items one by one. You already fucking render. Like, one thing Bethesda games they love to talk about their stupid fucking Havoc engine. Okay? Look at our physics. 3 kajillion cheese wheels. Oh my god. In real space. So detailed. So good. Okay, let me see the cheese wheel in my inventory. Without having to hover over this. Give me a fucking grid. This makes sense. It should be like this. This is just correct. This is just the correct way to do an inventory for a game like this, where there's a million different fucking ways to say water. Okay? By the way, can we talk about something real quick? Hold on. Hey, take a look at this. You see this? Planets have traits. Have you ever fucking seen these in your gameplay matter at all? I fucking haven't. Like, sometimes I get on a planet, and it starts hurting me, and I'm like, alright, I just gotta go fast. Have you ever fucking... I haven't seen these. I didn't know... I don't know what the fuck this is. This is crazy. We have traits on the planets, and it doesn't matter. Make these matter. Make them matter. Easy. Like, make planets great again. Okay? Stop playing with me. Stop playing games. Stop fucking around. Planet resources are kind of boring, but they're okay. Yeah, I talk about that. Throwables scale poorly. Oh, you mean like grenades. I have a note here about like grenades and not doing enough damage. We could do better. But I think that can be fixed with skills rather than just buffing grenades. I don't think grenades need a buff. I think skills should lean into the niche of grenades. We should have a skill that does that. Something that probably you've been screaming at me from the beginning about. Fucking carry capacity. Yes, I know. It's absolutely terrible. This is not enough. We need more. We also need like linked containers. But that's solved with the settlement system. So I'm not really too hung up on that. But yes, there's not enough space on your ship, on your starting ship. There's not enough space on the ships you can build. The max crew size is like 8, not even 10. There's no incentive. There's no fucking incentive to have my little fucking raft dreamboat if I can only have 8 people maximum on my ship. That makes... Oh, it's just small, bro. Also, collectibles, like snow globes. These are tagged as junk. This is a collectible item. They don't fucking tell you that. This is a collectible item. This needs a separate tag. Okay? This needs a separate tag. And it's called collectible. Okay? It should not be in the junk category. It's just a fucking UX UI thing. I don't know who made this. Hire me instead, okay? That's what I'll say. I'll do it better. What are we doing here? This is a collectible. Make a new tag. I think that's everything. Listen, like, okay. This was a lot, and I ranted here and there, but what I'm trying to get across generally, at the end of the day, right, is that I think that Starfield can be fixed. I truly believe that. I truly believe Starfield can be fixed. There's some people who are like, nope, the game's fucked. It's unfixable. You'll never be able to do it. The core vision, the promise of Starfield, can be fixed. It is doable. And I've broken down all the problems and some of their fucking solutions. I don't have all the solutions because I'm just one guy. And Starfield's a big fucking game. There's so many different ways to look at this. I'm not saying that I'm the fucking gospel and I'm always right. But I am always right, alright? Luther is always right. That's me. I'm always right. What I'm trying to say here is that this is possible if we want it to be possible. Starfield isn't doomed. It doesn't have to be. Starfield is the perfect canvas. It was the perfect game. The perfect game from a developer's perspective. Infinite money, infinite resources, infinite talent, infinite time. And they failed. This was the perfect game, and they failed because they were not good enough to fulfill the promises that they set out, that they fucking gave you. The contract they gave you as developers was not fulfilled. This can be fixed. This is perfectly fucking doable. I truly believe that. And 2 hours later into this fucking raw recording, I hope that I've convinced at least some of you that it doesn't have to be over. Elder Scrolls 6 is fucked. Give up. They're done. This isn't going to happen. However, Starfield is perfectly fucking fixable. It is the canvas for it. It can be done. It's just about who has the fucking will to do it. To be honest, I can't answer that question. Anyways, I'm fucking off to play Death Must Die or whatever the fuck, I guess.